Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, with the man who's always out in the community, our community reporter, John Gutierrez. Hey, sir.
Hey, Paul. Thank you for having us. Welcome, everybody, to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Senior Vice President John Gutierrez. Thank you all for tuning in again. Of course, today we have another special guest who we want to welcome today. She is the Director of Partnerships at Communications for Latino Health Access. She's a youth advocate, a community volunteer, but not only that, she's been with our Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce 20 plus years, 10 years as a board member. At one point was leading our youth chamber, and of course she's having a huge event this weekend that we'll talk about. Everyone, please welcome Maria Cervantes. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Paul, for having me here. Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of nervous, so we'll see what happens.
So I hear this is your first podcast show ever, huh?
Yes, it is.
This is exciting for us because, we try to make it fun. We make it hopefully informative. But at the same time, we want to make sure we share all the good that you've done in the community. So before we get into that, we'd like to learn a little bit about you. Tell us about Maria Cervantes, who she is, her hobbies, her passion, her love, and where you grew up, if you can share that with us.
Sure. So I'm actually from Zamora, Michoacan. I was raised by maternal grandparents. I came to the States when I was about 6 years old, and I've lived in Santa Ana ever since. So I'm definitely a Santanera.
Santanera, like me. I was born and raised in Santa Ana. Nice.
SAUSD, SAC, Cal State Fullerton. I am definitely here, grown, raised and grown. I am a mother of one, so I have an only child who just joined the service. He joined the Navy.
So thank you for his service.
Thank you. I will make sure to share.
Yes.
I have the full support of my husband and my puppy. I have a beagle, which I adore and love, and has filled kind of that void that, when my son left. So I'm definitely passionate about our community. I'm passionate about education, because to me, education was the key to break so many cycles in my personal life. So I want to make sure that I share that with the other Latinos out here. So that's why I decided to look for the chamber. And I'll share a little bit more about how my career started and how I started with the chamber.
You mentioned education, and I know you're huge on that.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you feel that came from in your upbringing? Who pushed you to that? Who was it? How did you find that inspiration to be so focused on education?
I think I always had it in me, and I didn't have encouragement from home, really. I come from a pretty large family. Most of my family, unfortunately, didn't graduate high school. So I am the first generation, the first one in my family to go to college. I think now I have a few nephews that have gone on, but besides that, my siblings, none of them went to higher education, which was very interesting, being the oldest one. So we just never got that at home. For me, it really was my teachers. I think it was specifically one teacher, Ms. Garcia from Saddleback High School. I think she retired already, but it was really
shout
her.
out to Ms. Garcia.
Yeah, shout out to her. But it was really her kind of saying, like, you have something, you have leadership skills, like, why are you so shy? Why are you so scared of being known as this smart Latina? And to me, I'm like, I'm not smart. What are you talking about? So it was really her who encouraged me to just keep going, and actually run for some positions on campus. I remember I was a president for Latino Leaders of the Future
at Saddleback
High School.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how was that for you as a young leader in high school? Did you feel that helped you already start kind of impacting you as a future leader as you are today in our community?
Definitely. I think, again, because I was just this shy person that I'm like, education, like, what's education? I'm going to grow up to be an amazing housewife, because that's what I was raised to be. I'm an amazing cook. If you have not tried my food.
I think I've had some of your food. I remember, yes.
And, that's really what I was being taught to do, is like, be a good cook, be a good wife, be a good, mom.
Yes.
And nobody really encouraged education until Ms. Garcia really, really encouraged that of me. And, again, taking that leadership role, it was a push, again, from her just saying, go for it. Like, who am I going to run against? And I was going to run against the most popular girl in school. I'm like, there's no way, like, she's going to beat me. Like, I don't want to go through that. And she's like, you'll be surprised, just
Really?
do it. So I did it, and I ended up getting the presidency for that. And that completely changed my life, because I think I've always been a leader at home, being the oldest sister. I've always kind of like taken that role. Just that being like, oh, people actually listen to me, and I can, manage people, and people will actually follow my lead. That completely opened my horizons.
What a special moment that was.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a great story, because I know you're huge on mentorship. And obviously having a mentor back then as Ms. Garcia. What about when you transitioned to college? What happened there? Like, what did you find? Cal State Fullerton, right?
Well, actually, I went to Santa Ana College.
Okay.
And again, I had 2 full rides,
Okay.
but because education was not valued at home, I was not allowed to go to school. I was like, estás loca? Like, what do you mean you're going to go away? Like, there's no way. You're not going to do that. So I said, okay, then I'll just go to Santa Ana College.
Okay.
But I went in there really with no one guiding me, so I completely got lost. I ended up dropping out of Santa Ana College very early on, because
Was
I
that
went
difficult for you?
It's not that it was difficult, it's just that I was signing up for classes left and right and never bothered dropping them, so I would just fail them. So
Yes.
my GPA just went down the drain, and I ended up dropping out, getting married, having a family. And I said, okay, my family was right. I was meant to be a good wife, a good mother, not a good student.
Interesting.
So it
Which
took me-
many women go through this, right?
Exactly.
And especially back then, a lot of the women were going through these situations.
Yes. It took me when my son, I remember this very clearly, when my son walked across that stage in his little kindergarten cap and gown, I knew, I'm like, I have it in me, and I want to teach my son that he can do whatever he desires. So that's when I decided to go back to college. I finished Santa Ana College within a semester and a half, transferred to Cal State Fullerton, finished in 2 years.
Good for you.
And then took another break.
Really? What did you go to Cal State Fullerton as far as your major? What did you want to do at the time?
First I thought I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
So I
can see you as a teacher.
I
right?
worked for Santa Ana Unified for a couple of years, and then I'm
Okay.
like, no, that's not for me.
Okay.
And then I decided, okay, I want to do social work for the
I can
Child
see you
Abuse
as a social
Prevention
worker.
Center.
Yes,
Yeah, I worked
yes.
for Child Abuse Prevention Center for 2 years. I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. And the way that I ended up where I am now, my former boss, she just said, you know what, I'm going to this startup company. You should come. It's probably a step down for you, but there's so much future here. You should come. And I started as their receptionist, worked my way up. I was there for 18 years, and they really motivated me, encouraged me, and supported me.
And what
to go-
company was this?
This was Mind Research Institute.
That's right. I just want to make sure
Yes,
it's okay. We
yes.
mentioned them, right? Which is a great organization.
It's an amazing organization. And again, they're highly academic. I mean, there was these, all PhDs, masters. I mean, they were very intelligent people. And I remember somebody coming up to me, somebody from leadership saying, Maria, don't fall into these roles, right? Like, why is it that you're the only Latina working here? And why do you have to be stuck behind the desk? Like, you're just much smarter than that. You need to go back to school.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, okay, if you guys think I can do that, then yeah, let's do it. So they supported my education, and I will forever be grateful to Mind Research for really encouraging me and bringing that out of me. Like, oh wow, like I am smart, I am capable, and I tell a lot of people, I'm not that smart, but le echo ganas. Like, I will do whatever.
For
it
those
takes
of you
to
that
get
didn't
it
understand
done.
what that meant, that means I work hard.
Yes,
Right? Le echo
yes,
ganas.
yes. Mhm.
Wow. And during those 18 years that you were at the Mind Institute, that is also when you were part of our chamber, right? Our Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, I worked in a predominantly white environment, and I remember feeling just out of place, being in a professional setting, but feeling completely out of place because nobody really understood my Spanglish, because I do a lot of Spanglish. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm missing something. So I literally just Googled professional Hispanics in Orange County. And the
Interesting.
first thing that pops up is the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to reach out to them. And I remember I started our very first advisory council at Mind that was specifically for Hispanics, and it was actually called the Diversity Council for Mind Research Institute. And I reached out to Priscilla, who was a president back then, and I started getting involved. I met Mike Limon, which I know you've had on the podcast before.
Shout out to Mike Limon.
Yes, I fell in love with Mike. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't know who this kid is, because he was a kid. You know, he was so young. I don't know who this kid is, but I already love him.
That's great.
And then I recruited him to come work with me
at Mind.
At Mind, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I started getting involved. I started volunteering a lot. I got recruited to be an what is it called, on the
youth chamber?
Not the youth chamber. Become a ambassador.
Ambassador.
Yeah. So
okay.
I became an ambassador
of the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And for those people that don't know what an ambassador is basically somebody in the community who represents the chamber, shares what the chamber's vision is, right? So as you were doing that, you eventually obviously became a board member, right?
Right. 2 years later, 2 years after I was an ambassador, they recruited me to be a board member. So I joined them, and I said, okay, well, what am I going to provide to the chamber, right? Because I don't like just to be a name on the list. What am I bringing to the table? And a few years later, I took over for the youth chamber after Eddie Guiares. I took it over, and I loved it. You know, that is one of the reasons that I love the chamber. The youth chamber is just such an amazing program, and you know, there's just so much potential there, and that's where my heart, my passion, my dedication is.
Well, thank you for all you have done for the chamber in general, but also the youth chamber, because I know there's many of those youth that are doing very well now, very successful, right? What was that like? I know you brought into the youth chamber as partners with you people like Paula, right? Nydia was a part of your team. We talked about that earlier. What was that like, building that youth chamber? Because I know we have our upcoming golf tournament, which is at the end of August. For those of you that like to golf or just network, we've raised money for those scholarships, right, for the youth chamber. What was that like? Now you were the mentor, right? You were the mentee for many years, but now you were the mentor.
You know, I was the mentor, but I was also the mentee. I mean, I was always being inspired by the youth. I mean, to hear their stories, to hear their struggles. And I'm like, I learned so much from each one of them. They inspired me to go back to school. I actually went back to grad school. So I got my MBA from Chapman.
Congratulations. Yay. I remember that.
Thank you. And really that was thanks to the youth chamber, and, you know, just seeing how much effort they put in and how much they looked up to people like us, like the chamber, that I wanted to make sure that I would provide even more. And having Paula, Nydia, Mike on my team, you know, take that lead for those 2 years, it was just amazing. You know, it's amazing to hear people like Andres, people like Desiree, you know, Judith, all come back and just kind of give us an update on where they are. And that's what we're here for. If we're helping one person, and, you know, and even to go back, I remember taking it after Eddie, who's an amazing businessman. I was scared. I'm like, what am I going to offer? I'm not a businesswoman. I don't have a higher education. So what am I going to offer them? And really, when I sat down, I was able to offer them comfort. I was really able to offer them that guidance that sometimes they were missing from home. Like, they love just coming to my house, having the meetings at my house, because I would always be cooking them, you know, like enchiladas, pozole, whatever. It's like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of home.
Food is a common denominator, right?
Yes. So, I mean, I loved it, and I would be able to, like, just have them meet with people like John and get them that business, the business connection that they needed. So I'm definitely a connector, and I'm definitely, like, I embrace and I take these kids as if they were my own. And just a little fun fact, I actually have 13 godchildren. So I have one child, but I have 13 godchildren, and I take each one of them as, you know, what can I do for them?
So some of them still contact you, or they still reach out to you?
They still do. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is so you're seeing them grow in their careers and take their paths.
And their personal, just everything, their careers and their personal. I mean, you know, for me to receive hey, guess what? I just got married, or, you know, I just had my first child, or whatever. I mean, that's just amazing to see the connection that we've built.
You're such a deep part of our chamber when you think about it. I mean, I know you mentioned 20 years involved in our chamber, 10 years as a board member, right? We were talking about this before the show. But now you've transitioned into your new career, your new job. Tell us a little bit about that.
So when I decided to take a step back, I left everything. I left my job. I left all my board seats. I left everything because I wanted to focus just in school. I knew that grad school was going to be really hard. So I said, okay, I'm going to step back from everything. And while I was finishing grad school, I talked to the people at Latino Health Access, and I wasn't ready to go back. Like, no, I want to really finish. But their mission is just so compelling. And there was something that I always missed. I always felt that I was missing from my professional career. And it's like, how do I bring my full culture into my professional setting? It was a learning curve, honestly, because I was writing in Spanish, emailing in Spanish, like texting in Spanish, like everything was in Spanish. And I love that. I love just being able to communicate in my language, communicate in my thinking process that people actually understand. And I can have a full-on conversation, whether it's about a novela, whether it's about a class, whether it's whatever it is, just being able to connect to the professionals. And, like the tias, the tío, like we have an amazing Promotor Program. And that is what gets our organization moving forward. They are the boots on the ground. Like we would not be able to do anything without our promotores. And, those are just common people. That is the Promotor Program. Basically what it is they will take somebody that once suffered, of diabetes. They found out they had a diabetes. They became active and learned about our programs. Well, guess what? They went back to their apartment complex and started talking to their neighbors. This is what I did. This is what's helping me. So we call them promotores de la salud, right? So healthcare workers. They're not health professionals.
They're kind of like ambassadors at our chamber. Interesting.
Exactly. I mean, they're just, it's amazing. And I love our mission. You really bring health equity to Latinos, specifically here in the zip code 92701 in the Santana community, Orange County community. And I think that thanks to the promotores, we have gone above and beyond.
Now, the Latino Health Access has different locations?
Actually, no. We're only set in Santana. We're actually in downtown Santana, but we have promotores throughout Orange County, and we actually train the Promotor Program nationally. So there's people from New York, from Chicago that will call us and say, can you teach us how to establish a Promotor Program, how to establish a functioning call center that will distribute the information that we need them to distribute.
Yes. And this event you're having this Saturday, tell us about this event, because you have a huge group of people that are going to be a part of it. Share with us what the event consists, what it's about, when it starts, who can attend. Can you share with us? And of course, you have a lot of sponsors supporting the event, which is a great event this Saturday.
In the past, they've had a couple of walks. To me, Latino Health Access is about health equity, right? So why are we not doing something that encourages health? So we came up with this idea of incorporating the different aspects of taking care of yourself, so mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So all the different activities that we're going to have are going to encompass one of those areas. So we are going to have a mile walk. So we're not going to have a 5K. It's going to be a mile walk. So it's a short walk, but it's getting us moving. We're going to have, Zumba, yoga, drumming, arts and crafts for the kids. And we're having just so many different participants like Cal Optima with Serve the People. They're going to be providing vaccinations, school vaccinations for our kids. We're going to be having glucose testing. We're going to be giving away snacks and food from a food bank. Yep.
Yes.
The Second Harvest Food Bank.
Yes.
And this was all thanks to, this is all free to the community. So everybody is invited. Please join us. It's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Santana College at the track field. And this
which is on 17th Street.
17th and College.
And in College. I know there's on the backside the track is, right?
Right.
And they can park back there, right? There's a lot of parking.
It's going to be free parking, again, thanks to that partnership with Santana College and also to our major sponsors like, Northgate, Helmet Aerospace, and their Hispanic Network Group, Eagle Credit Union, Disney, Union Bank. I mean, we have so many different partners here that want to make sure that our community is getting the resources that they need to get, in order to get over this whole COVID stuff. I mean, we want to make sure that they're taking care of their mental, spiritual, and emotional health as well. That's
interesting you bring this up, Maria, because I know from interviewing a lot of people on the show and being on the community, we hear this word burnout. People are they feel like they're burned out from the pandemic and everything going on. And so that's so great that you guys are going to be there providing these services that hopefully help to some extent, right, help with the burnout, right? What is your goal that day? What do you hope that you get out of it?
Yeah. So the name is actually Activa tu Salud, so activate your health. And really our goal is to provide the resources that people such as yourself, OC Hospice is going to be there. And, a lot of this stuff we just don't know. So we want to make sure that our community knows about the resources and they get little tips and tricks that's not going to cost them any money on, I'm feeling stressed out, I'm feeling that burnout. What can I do right now that's going to take me, 2 minutes to do? I don't have to go spend money. I don't have to get on my car and drive. Like, what are these tools that I can do right now to help alleviate some of this stress?
And anyone can attend. Adults,
anybody,
kids, they can bring their whole family.
Yes.
Because we do know in the Latino community, sometimes, Latino Access, having access, being able to get to a place. I've seen a lot of these events. People just walk.
Yes.
They walk from the community and they're carrying all this. They don't have, obviously, they probably take the bus. You probably see a lot of that, right?
We do. And that's why we actually selected a location that was pretty central, that people would have that easy access to, that if they needed to ride the bus or they needed to walk, there's a big community around Santa Ana College. So that's, we were very specific where we selected this location. So yes, everybody is invited. The walk is, if you want to go on a stroller, if you want to take abuelita, everybody is welcome. It's going to be hot, but don't worry, we got you. We will keep you.
Well, there's canopies, right?
Yeah.
So as people walk up to the canopies and to the vendors, they stay fresh.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like it's going to be completely under the sun the whole time, right?
Yes, but sun it's good for you,
it's
right?
Good vitamin C. Was
vitamin
it C or D? D. There you go. I remember in the pandemic, people would walk around their backyard.
Yeah.
I was one of them. I'd walk around the backyard. It was interesting. My mom, one time I walked out to the backyard and she was like hugging the tree. And I said, Mom, and my mom's actually from Michoacan. And I said, Mom, what are you doing? And she's like, in Michoacan, we would do this. We would hug the tree to get energy. And it's good for you. And I was like, oh. And I even took a picture of her. And she's like, what are you doing? I said, Mom, this is so cool that you're hugging the tree. How often do you see a senior hugging a tree, right?
Well, it's very interesting because we have super creative people at LHA. So they created a tree for us, and we're calling it the affirmation tree. So this is just an activity of people just, walking up and on a leaf, writing an affirmation and hanging it in the tree, making sure that we leave our troubles behind, at least for that time. So it's really interesting, the story about your mom.
Yeah, we actually, OC Hospice, we actually have a tree as our logo. And the reason why it was the tree of life, right? And so when our patients pass away, we actually offer that as a therapeutic. We plant a tree in their backyard if they wish, or we plant one somewhere in the forest, whatever they wish. We have a partnership with the company, and it's really to see that tree grow again, and it's therapeutic for the family as remembering their loved one. And usually we put a little plaque and their name on it of the loved one that passed away. So I'm with you on the whole therapeutic, the tree of life, right? It's so beautiful. We have a few minutes left here. So how can people find you, Maria, or learn more about Latino Health Access? What do you recommend people go find your information? What's the website, or how do they find you on social media?
So for Latino Health Access, our website is just latinohealthaccess.org. We're on Instagram, Facebook, again, Latino Health Access, or LHA. We're known as LHA.
Okay.
And personally, my Instagram account is actually Yo Soy Mi Cultura.
That's right. I love that. I love that. Yo Soy Mi Cultura.
I am my culture. Yes. And then LinkedIn, feel free to reach out. Again, I am a connector, so I will connect with you. I will not ignore you.
Yes. And we'll put that on the social media. We'll put your links there. We'll type it up, and we'll put the Instagram there on the comments. We want to thank you for being here. We want to ask everybody that wishes to come out on Saturday to come out and support it. 8 to 12,
8
right?
to 12. Yep.
Santa Ana College, in the track, at the back.
Yes.
They don't need to register. They can just walk up,
They
right?
can just walk up. Yep. And if you're going to do the walk, make sure you get there by 8 o'clock so you can register for the walk. It's also free, but you do need to register.
And that'll be nice because it's right there at the track.
Yep.
I remember that track. It's so nice. My wife used to go there to work out all the time. It's a beautiful track. So folks, please reach out to Maria Cervantes. Maria, thank you so much for everything you have done for our Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Shout out to the Youth Chamber. Hopefully they continue to, reach out to you. Thank you for being their advisor of life, really, and for all you have done. And thank you for being here today on the show. Any other words before we head on out? Because I'm just going to make a few announcements here.
No, just, thank you. And again, the work that the Chamber does, I mean, it's amazing. If you have not become a member, please do come out to our events. And I am really, really looking forward to going back into the Youth Chamber. So going back, thanks to John Amador and a couple of the other people.
Nice.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, thank you for being here. Folks, don't forget to follow us at OCHCC, which is our Instagram, Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, on our Facebook page, and of course our website, OCHCC.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, like we always said, our community podcast show is here to provide you support and resources where our community is your community. Take it away, Paul. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. One more great reason to tune in each and every time to hear and to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.